Hi, this is Jeremy Carlson, Everglades University. This is my week 4 final speech video, and I am going to discuss the topic of gun control. I want to clarify and put to perspective some of the misleading information that the general public will receive from media. I want to talk about 3 specific areas of gun control. One, how banning firearms has been proven to be ineffective, and we will look at different places in the US with the strictest laws banning gun ownership and see that more violence takes place in some of these areas. Open carry is a great method for law-abiding citizens to deter crime and protect themselves, oftentimes without even having to pull their weapon, and why also the assault weapons are actually necessary. So, to bring things into a quick perspective, let's look at an analogy and talk about drugs, heroin specifically. In 1924, heroin had become illegal in the United States of America. If gun ownership was made illegal as well, it would not go away, just as heroin hasn't gone away. It would only create more criminals. If you had watched a video of a leopard chasing down an antelope to kill it, you would not say that that antelope had no right to defend itself, to use its horns and hooves to do so. Many Americans think that we people do not have that same right to defend ourselves. They think that if you remove the horns and hooves from the antelope, the cougar would just cease to chase him down, cease to look at him as prey, and therefore that would just stop the predator. But by removing the defense of the antelope from it, it would just create more predators. The same logic tells anybody by removing the gun from the hand of a law abiding citizen, it will not stop criminals from making them victims. It would just create more criminals by making easier prey. Um, Banning heroin, making it illegal, has not helped it to go away. Um, if you look at the last 6 years, the use of heroin and sale of heroin had actually gone up 150%. This is done by a report from the CDC, and Christopher M. Jones, a PhD, and Joseph Logens, a PhD, who performed this research for the CDC. According to the National Survey on Drug and Health, the NSDUH, illegal sales and use of drugs is consistently on the rise in the US. In 2012, about 669,000 Americans were reported to be using heroin. Proof that making something illegal does not make it go away, but it did create a lucrative business and also help destroy lives. When you hear of fire and someone starting a fire, being an arsonist, do you blame the match that was used by the arsonist? Do you think that there needs to be more regulations on the type of matches we can purchase and the quantity in which we can buy matches? In January 2013, President Obama commissioned, as a part of the 23 executive orders he signed, to have the CDC complete a study consisting of over 10 million tax dollars that you and I paid for to see if law-abiding citizens having firearms can actually lower the crime rate. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention in 2013 put out a report stating that self-defense can be an important crime deterrent. So this report that was asked to be performed by the current administration actually became a complete backfire for the administration. The CDC put out a report saying that it did in fact help to reduce crime rates by having people who were armed. Existing gun laws, there are more than 20,000 gun laws in the United States already. Every crime committed by a criminal is already in violation of an existing gun law. You can create 200,000 gun laws, and it'll just be, another 180,000 ways somebody breaks the law. It doesn't matter how many laws you put into place, a criminal will always be a criminal, and they'll always find a way to break that law. So whatever makes us think that new laws will have any more influence over the criminal mind than the existing ones is just crazy. More laws will only create more criminals, and they will just create more crimes against you. Open carry has reported, and this is also by the CDC, that Obama had asked to do, showed that criminals are much less likely to want to encounter an armed citizen than one who is unable to defend themselves. Cougar and the antelope. Same logic is why we were not invaded by Japan in Pearl Harbor in 1941. There are a lot of reports that have talked about this, just private journals by generals. And they had said, during the time of war when the U.S. was fighting Germany, the Japanese had every opportunity to come ashore in the California coast, but they did not because they knew that the American people kept and bared arms and would use it against them. Now, talking about assault weapons, very sore subject, I know that, but there are many instances where having an assault weapon has been used in crimes, but also assault weapons are used to stop crimes. An assault weapon is the common weapon of a soldier, and the Second Amendment was put into place so that we could become a militia, defend our freedom from tyranny. But if you think about all murders in the United States, here's a report by the FBI that will help put things in perspective. There's about 8,000, a little over 8,000 murders in 2015, or in 2014, and the 2015 FBI report stated that of those murders, 5,562, or about 47% of them, were handguns. 2,000 of them were unknown firearms. 1,610 were done by other weapons, could be baseball bats, whatever. Hands and knives, or hands using knives and cutting instruments, accounted for 1,500. Hands, feet, punching, just street fights, 660. Shotguns, 262. Rifles, 248. So of all the 8,000 murders, 248 were done by a rifle, and only some of those were actual semi-automatic or assault rifles. And to finish up, just know that 440,000 Americans were killed that year due to medical hospital errors that could have been prevented, or otherwise known as medical malpractice. And that should put things in a little bit more perspective. So, an article by the American Thinker, Why Do Civilians Need Assault Weapons? It delivers a lot of examples as to why we do, just to be able to keep up with what the criminals have. But again, just know in perspective that when we look at the statistics, it is a very small percentage of people who die in this country from rifle use. Less than 2% of all murders are done through the use of a rifle. Banning assault weapons is just makes no sense. And if you want to put regulations on something, or if the FBI puts out a report stating that 440,000 people are dying because of the medical field, I think that's where our focus needs to be. Thank you.